Hello and welcome back to Luke-N-SHAE'S place. So glad to see you guys. So glad that you could stop by and join me. I have a banger reaction video planned for you guys, but before I begin, go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe, 100% free, share, and oh, don't forget to click that notification bell so that you get notified when Luke and I will be posting. And why not comment? Go ahead and comment in the comment section, put a heart, and also give us some feedback, and we'll definitely reply. But I have a banger reaction video for you guys, and there's a good topic going on, a good discussion, and I figured I'd bring it to you guys so that you can let me know what you think about it. And basically, men are asking women, and when dates or when they first start to meet someone, their question, one of the major questions that men are asking is, what do you bring to the table? So women, that is a question that men are asking, and if you've experienced it, I would like to see your comments and read your comments to see how'd you react to that? How did it make you feel for a man to ask you, what do you bring to the table? And so that's like a trending topic, and my thing is with that, I believe in at the start of a relationship, that's when you're getting to know someone, you should be asking questions. But there's controversy with this topic because some women and men actually feel like that question is a bit much, because not knowing what the person's intentions is behind that question. What are their intentions? And there's a lot of platforms where men are, they go to, and they're getting that information. They kind of conversate about, hey, there's nothing for a man in a marriage, whatever. So that's one of the questions, because men are asking, hey, what are you bringing to the table? And we're going to dive into that. I'm going to give you my talking points, and we're going to just take a look at this and see what other people are saying. But let's go. So while looking into this topic, guys, some good talking points that I came across that I wanted to share with you guys, just doing a little research and seeing why. To start off, why is it that men are asking this question? What is causing them to actually ask this question? So I'm going to chat about that with you guys a little bit. Just a little bit of research I found in different platforms that I looked into that had this topic. And one of the main reasons is today you have a lot of people who are getting into the relationship and they feel like, okay, why not have a 50-50 relationship? And let's face it, with the way things are today, you pretty much have that anyway. When you have a working woman in the home, you have the working male in the home, and your relationship, however your relationship, you have the two partners that are working. So the 50-50, a lot of people were frowning upon that, and when you think about it, you're contributing anyway into the home, however that works for you. So with the 50-50 mindset, and the way the economy is today, that's another reason why, because the cost of living and economic pressure. So a lot of times when you have a person who live by themselves, they're taking on all that comes with that. They're paying all their bills. Life is just them by themselves, paying everything. So when they get into a relationship, they're looking for that nice just relief of just stress, to have someone help alleviate that stress by taking on some of those bills. And as I agree with that 100% with that. So that right there, okay, what people are saying is, when you're asking the question, what you bring to the table, when the men out here are asking that question, it's not so much what you bring to the table, because A generic answer from a woman, usually, just for myself, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna be your peace. Your home should be the place where you have peace. So not only am I gonna cook a meal, not only is the house gonna be kept, you know, I'm going to be your peace. If you're having stress at work, you can talk. Let's talk about it. I'm going to build you up. I'm going to do so many things. But the answers that women are given, men are shooting it down. Like some guys are shooting it down and she can say, hey, I'm going to give you babies. We're going to have a family. We're going to raise a family. And so a lot of times what I'm seeing is one of the things when they ask this question, they're like, look, what can you bring to the table? And don't say sex. Don't, because I can get that somewhere else. So when you think about that, they're like, yeah, don't say that because I could either buy that, I can get that, I could get sex from someone else. So don't even say you're bringing that to the table. And I'm seeing women try to answer another, okay, well, like I just mentioned cooking. Well, don't mention cooking because I can hire somebody to cook. I can get a chef. Well, cleaning, oh, I can get somebody to clean my house. I can hire a company to come and clean my house. So it's kind of like, oh, they're saying I can buy these things. I can actually get someone else to come into the household and do these things. So I don't necessarily need you to come here and do that. So kind of made the answers for women, some of the ones that I've seen in different platforms that I looked at, where they're just looking dumbfounded. But just on my end, when I think about this, there's so much more that a woman brings to the table in a marriage, in a relationship, than just cooking and cleaning. Like I mentioned, that person you can go to, that person that you can count on, somebody who's going to lift your spirits up, someone who's going to build you. She's going to just, hey, she's going to motivate. Hey, honey, I know that this promotion didn't work out this time, but you know what? You got this. Just keep, doing the darn thing at work. She's going to speak power into you. There's so much more that a woman is going to bring than especially just laying on her back, because there's so much more. And it's a shame when women are being asked this, it's like they're being backed in a corner like, okay, wow, you just eliminated all my answers by telling me that you can hire someone for those things. But just back into the little research that I did, like I said, economic pressure today, adding a lot of stress in a relationship and with different things going with the cost of living. But what this does is, with the economic pressure, it basically adds to the deletion of the traditional relationships, especially with finances. So when you think about the gender roles in the household, the gender roles have changed. So with that in mind, when a man is asking a woman, hey, what do you bring to the table? Now, years ago, those answers of just keeping the house, cooking and cleaning, and, making sure, hey, your peace, I'm going to make sure things that when you get home, you don't have to lift a finger, just, that's years ago. And not saying that you're still not going to do that as a woman. You're still going to do that. But add a 9 to 5 to that, or whatever your shift is. Women are working full-time hours today, and, they're pursuing their careers, and that's the difference. So when you're getting in a relationship with someone and they're asking you, what do you bring to the table? When we think about that, so the man basically, when he's asking a woman that, he's basically standing on his role. That's with the assumption that he's saying, hey, I'm providing, I'm protecting, what are you bringing to the table? Well, if that woman today is now working and she's pursuing her career, or she's into her career, and she actually has finances coming into the household, she's kind of contributing to that male's role. That's the male's role, because when you think about it, years ago, with our family members before us, you didn't have a lot of women that were working back then. The men were providing, the men were taking care of the finances, and they were protecting their household. The woman, she pretty much was home taking care of house and home. That's a job all in itself. So now you have today's woman where she's working her 9 to 5, but she's also taking care of house and home. So she's doing her wifely duties at home, making sure the kids are good and everything. And she's also getting up in the morning and she's going to work or whatever time she goes to work. So she's contributing to that role, right? So if that's the case and men are asking what you're bringing to the table, well, not only is she contributing to your role, but she's still taking care of house and home. So it's kind of like, and they think about it as fairness. When you talk about 50-50, men say, well, you're working, so I don't feel like, especially with the cost of living, you should be contributing to the household. Okay, that's great. By all means, that should be something that you're contributing. You guys agree to that? That should be something you talk about early on in a relationship, how that's going to look. But let's face it, the relationships today, marriages and relationships, now they changed that to, I hear a lot of people saying partnership. When you talk about relationships, a lot of people are calling their marriage, calling their relationship partnerships. Now, when you call it that, I feel like when you're calling it a partnership, it's like you're putting both people on an equal plane here. That's a partnership, because when I think of a partnership, yeah, we have split down the middle. We're both contributing. We're both doing things in and out of the home. And if that's the case, and if you're calling it a partnership, then it kind of takes away from, okay, he's the head and she's the helpmate. So, but if she's up here also contributing, and if we're thinking about fairness, and if you want to call it fairness, wouldn't it be fair that if she's working the 9 to 5 and she's coming home and she's still cooking, she's still doing all the ins and outs in the household that she's supposed to do? So if we're going to make it fair when we both get home from work, shouldn't it be fair across the board then? Shouldn't it be, if she's contributing to that male's role as provider and she's helping to provide for the household, is it not fair that some days when they come home, you get showered after work or whatever, get yourself, instead of him going in there and propping his feet up and she's in there still just getting off of work, and hey, come in there and help her out. Let's do this together. Let's put this food on the table together. Hey, if I'm cooking, hey, do the dishes, or vice versa. If you want to cook for me tonight, or you want to cook for the household tonight, I'm going to do the dish. I'm going to make sure. Let's do it that way, because what happens is you get burnt out. It's like overwhelming, and you don't want to have your wife. I don't think a woman, it's not fair for her to get overwhelmed in the relationship, because I don't call it a partnership. To each its own with that, but in a relationship, in a marriage, you don't want one person to be overwhelmed. Just like I wouldn't want him to go out there and work hard and be providing for the household, but then he has to come home and, the kids, their homework's not done. This, the house is just nothing's clean. Food's not on the table. That's not fair to him. And then he's coming home trying to whip up something real quick for everybody to eat. That's a lot. That's stressful. You're not having any downtime so that you can just relax and go back at it the next day, and that's how it is. I believe it should be. If we're going to now make that role to where she's helping with the provider role, then I believe that it's only fair, just why not help her in the kitchen so that she can sit down, you both can sit down together and relax, because you have a whole, Lord willing, a whole nother day to do that again, all over again. Your cycle's going to repeat. And no one person should be drained. No one person should feel like they're just a slave in their household. That shouldn't be. Because yes, your home should be your peace. That should be a place where you could go home and just, and it should not just be that for the man. The woman should be able to, oh, she's driving home from work. It shouldn't be like, oh my goodness, my head's spinning. I don't even want to go home. I got to go home and now cook. And it shouldn't be something where she's complaining about it, because if she knows, hey, you know what, I'm going to go home and I know hubby's going to help with this. And, you know, I already got dinner planned out. I just have to put it together, and I know that the kitchen's going to be done. Afterwards, we could sit down together, and I just feel like that should be a thing. It should be. But yeah, what do you bring to the table? So just keep that in mind. I would love to hear comments. I would love to hear people. What do you think about that when when a guy asks, what do you bring to the table? Is he really thinking about all that she could possibly bring? Because you could sit there and say you're hiring strangers to come into your house to cook, to clean, to, you know, but where's the bonding with that? You can tell me you're going to hire somebody to lay on their back, but where is the bonding? Where you're going to have children with that stranger? That's, I mean, this is, you know, my whole thing is, I just think it's funny when I hear people's talking points about this, but she brings so much more to the table than just cooking, cleaning, you know, contributing. Let's think about back in the day. That wasn't even a question. Men weren't asking women what you bring to the table, because most of the time he already knew, okay, well, I'm getting a wife, so the cooking, the cleaning, you know, that's just the things with the children, and bringing him his peace, making sure that his house is a home he can come to and just relax, unwind from work, away from all the craziness, all the busy noise and all that. He can just relax. So, and back in the day, think about men, they would actually go to the woman's house a lot of times, talk to the father, sit down with the father, and ask for her hand. Like, I would love to marry your daughter. And even going back even further, there might still be some places in this world that still do this old school traditional way of bringing gifts to that family. I know years ago, you showed that you were going to be able to take care of that man's daughter by bringing animals or whatever, and you're giving the family a certain amount of animals and say, that's what I guess the bride price. Say, I am going to be able to take care of her. I'm going to be able to provide. And you know what? I just want to give this to your family. I would like to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. There was no questions of what she's going to bring to the table. I mean, I need to do 50-50. There was none of that. But if we're going to take away the whole traditional gender roles, okay, where she's now contributing, because people back in the day, women wanted to try to be equal. That wasn't me. But those ones that decided that we should go out here and go to work, and that's why we do it. But since we're doing it, she's bringing a lot to the table, because now she's contributing to the provider role. So let's take a look at what other people were saying. Those are just some talking points that I was able to research and find what people were saying. But what do you think? Do you think it should be fair across the board? Let's take a look. I want to see what other people are saying. And the video that I'm bringing to you, Leandra, you can look in the description. I'll put her information. She has a great platform. Go over there and check her out. But let's dive into this video and see what others have to say.
Out of my 40 years of life, I never thought I'd see the day where a bunch of men sit around asking women what you bring to the table. Fellas, that is the most humiliating, most emasculating question that you can ask a woman. You don't really realize how bad you look. And a lot of you men today are suffering from a state of what I call sassy syndrome. Jesus needs to come down with a Thanos glove, just snapping his finger, making some of y'all sassy men disappear. Because at the end of the day, that's a damn if you do, damn if you don't question. Because if she's bringing more to the table, then 9 times out of 10, a lot of you would get intimidated anyway. So it's a lose-lose situation for a lot of you men to be asking women that question when you really wouldn't be able to handle it. Real men build tables. Real men already have a table ready. And a woman is supposed to come in your life and help manage what's on the table. That's what my wife does. She helps manage what's on the table that I built. My 11-year-old son, he see daddy go out, grind, make it, slay the dragon, bring it home, and wife helps manage what's on the table. A lot of you boys wouldn't even understand that because so many of you are so busy villainizing women and watching these men on these podcasts whine and cry about women, sitting in their hot chair with the lullaby music in the background. I'm gonna tell you straight like this.
Oh my goodness, he just made the, I'm sorry, that made me laugh. He just did the crying noise, but okay, he said that. He's saying that. I'm listening. Let's hear more.
Ladies, if a man asks you a question like that, you need to get your purse, put your track shoes on, and get the hell out of there.
You said, what are you bringing to the table? Men are tired. I'm not bringing nothing to the table, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. If you want a woman to bring something to the table, go to IHOP, go to the restaurant where you can tip her, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Because if I bring something to the table, you're going to be mad because it's going to be another man who's going to not ask me to bring something to the table. He's going to take care of the bill, them kids, and everybody else. And you, if you look broke. Okay? Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's how I roll. All right? Tired of these broke dudes sitting at the table looking for the handouts.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So the other day I reposted a video of a guy talking about, he doesn't expect or he will never ever ask his woman or his girl for half of the rent, half of the mortgage, half of the car note, any of that he's traditional and that he pays for all the bills and he takes care of everybody who's under his roof, under his house. So a lot of men had issues with it or whatever, saying, oh, he gonna be used. First of all, let me just say this. Any man that asks you what you bring to the table, any man that's worried or concerned about your finances is a man that ain't got his shit together. Because wealthy men who are established in their own career and financially, they're not worried about what you bring to the table, especially financially, because he's already dated you and know you well enough to know how you fit in his dynamic. And trust me, it ain't to pay no bills. Any man that's going half with a woman, that means he's poor and he needs her half. And for all you Miss Independent Oprah Winfrey, syndrome having ass women that going into these relationships trying to build these men up, taking care of these men, paying for trips, doing all this shit for him, that man would take everything you got, allow you to build him up to later on leave you for somebody else he really want to be with. Stop rushing into these relationships trying to save these men. At a certain point in your life, we all have taken L's in life, but at some point you should be financially stable. A lot of men will sit up there and use a woman to be able to get the attention of the women that he actually want to be with. Stop rushing in here trying to act like you want to be Captain Saving for these men. And then later on,
What do you guys think about what she's saying? And what the guy previously said, the first guy who spoke, because he said that his woman basically, he provides and she just basically has to help manage everything. When he brings home the bread, basically she's just making sure things are paid, whatever the case, however that works for them. He said she doesn't have to go out there and work and she's taking care of home. This woman saying basically, she's not with it either. She's saying that it's a bunch of hoopla, basically, when people were asking this question. And for women, she's saying that instead of you putting all your resources into and you guys, this just reminds me, I just did a video, go check it out, a couple days ago about struggle love and that topic, right? This, what she's saying reminds me of that, because some of the talking points and some of the things that were said in that video was similar, where people get into relationship, male or female, you get into these relationships and you're building a person up and you're putting your resources out here and you're all lovey-dovey, but then a person's just receiving it and it's one-sided and they're taking all your resources, they're getting built up. And when somebody else comes along that they really want, then they leave you. So, I don't know. Some interesting talking points. Let's hear more.
Feeling used and abused because you done rushed in trying to play Oprah Winfrey. He done took everything you had to offer, used you, and left you. Allow a man to lead you. If that man is not financially able, he's not ready to date. Say this and I'm done. Fellas, stop allowing these females to rush in and help you with any and everything you got going on. Stop letting her pay for shit all the time, taking you on trips, paying for gifts or whatever, because it's a manipulative, controlling tactic. Later on, she's going to use that against you. She's going to throw it in your face, especially if she doesn't get what it is that she thinks she deserves or want from you. Stop setting yourself up. And I know a lot of y'all, well, women been getting trips, women been getting gifts. That's just the way it is. It ain't fair. Just like a woman can't go out here and smash 10, 20 different men and still have her reputation intact. A man can go out here and smash 10, 20 women and he's considered a player. Women, we can't do that. So shit just ain't fair. Stop allowing these women to take care of your business. If you can't afford to go, if you can't afford to pay for something, then that means you just don't need it. Stop taking these handouts from these women.
Guys, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who are new, my name is Lisa, and judging by the title.
Okay, guys, so that is the content creator for this video. Again, you can go down in the description section. I'll have her information. You can check it out. Her platform, that's Lizandra, and she is cooking over there. So make sure you check out. All right.
What does she bring to the table? The hell you mean, man? What do your ass bring to the table? You got a woman that can come to the table that can make another you. What else she need to slide up to the table with? What about your job? What happened to men who were supposed to be responsible? Do you know that it's our job to take care of a woman and some children, to have a family? That's our damn job.
But what happens to when the woman tell you, I don't need a man, Steve?
Well, they need to what? Okay, if you don't, how that's working? You know, how that's working? Who don't need no man?
I'm independent. I can do for myself.
Yeah, but why do you want to? Yeah.
Exactly with that. I know I need one. I don't know about all the other women out here who are saying that, but no, I'm definitely not saying that over here. But they are, they're making me laugh over there. Let's listen to more.
Yeah, okay, you can drop a transmission. You can sandblast your house. But hell, do you want to?
No.
If somebody could get out there and drop this transmission for you and sandblast your house, why don't you go get your nails done? I'm not trying to reduce a woman to nothing else. Be all you can be. But damn, who don't need a man? That's a lie. What man don't need a woman? I tell you what. I tell you what, try to live without them. Try to live your life without women. This ain't about la-da-da, man. This some bullshit without women. If it wasn't for women, what would you? He said, if women did not exist, all the money in the world would have no meaning. Dog, women is everything. They catch me out. They the lick, man. But these young boys done forgot it because these women out here, they've had to be independent because they ain't got the right man.
Okay.
But this system of marriage is still good.
Okay.
This system of a man taking care of a woman, that's really how it's supposed to be. All the rest of it's bullshit, man. And y'all need to quit tricking yourself with this new way of thinking. Because this new way of thinking ain't getting y'all no damn where. I'm sorry.
If a man asks you as a woman, what do you have to offer or what of value are you providing in my life, then trust me, that man doesn't see you as valuable at all. A man will never ask a woman who he says can complement his life that what do you bring to the table. The moment you're being asked, what do you bring to the table? The man isn't asking you in a way to get assurance. He's asking you because he doesn't see any value from you.
I've just watched a video of a woman who's developed a condition called Bell's palsy. And in conditions where you can develop this thing is either through pregnancy, diabetes, etc. But number one is pregnancy. And that's what I'm interested in. So this woman is pregnant. She's now developed this condition where half of her face is dropped. So like, let's say like paralyzed example. So literally the half of the lip is dropped. Her face is dropped there. Eyes drop, everything dropped there. She's pregnant, going through a lot of stress with her partner. Pregnancy that they both planned for and wanted, and now it seems like although yes, physically she's carrying it, but it's good to have emotional support from your partner, but she physically is going through a lot of stress, and this has caused her to have this stress, the pregnancy, everything has caused her to have Bell's palsy. And then you still have a man who come and ask you a question of what do you bring to the table? My life, my entire life. Your wife brings her whole life to the table. Why? Because through childbirth, she...
Right there. Her entire life. That's deep. Let that set in for a minute. What do you bring to the table? My entire life. As she describes this woman who is pregnant and she has now a medical condition carrying this man's child. And he's saying, what do you bring to the table? Because I'm assuming he's saying that because she's sick. And I want to hear more, but she said, my entire life, that's what you're bringing to the table because that is risky. But let's go.
She could literally possibly get all these sorts of illnesses and diseases, etc. And then on top of that, could potentially die through childbirth. So your wife brings her whole entire life. If you don't feel women bring anything to the table, go and meet your fellow man. You both should bring things to the table. And like the other woman said that I listened to that sound, she said, both of you men should all meet together, bring things to the table, have the full table and enjoy the table. It's so disrespectful for a man to actually ask a woman, what do you bring to the table? When she literally births, she brings life to the table. She brings life, plus either she dying or not, she brings that to the table. Bells. Like literally the woman's face dropped down. And she could recover from it, and it could take weeks to years before she recovers for it. Can you imagine that? And you kind of ask me, what did I bring to the table? Nothing. Aye.
You see this question, what do you bring to the table? Where some men they ask women. I feel like say any man where they ask that question, a big red flag. In fact, as a matter of fact, na Red Sea. I don't think in a real world, a woman should be asking a man, what do you bring to the table? Because you're the man, you're the leader. It is what you bring that she will multiply. So as a woman, I feel like a woman gets the right to ask man, what are you bringing to the table? So I know what I'm about to get into. So I know what I will be multiplying. You know, because now what you give woman, she will give you back or she will multiply them. You are the leader. And if you lead well, she will follow. All these excuses when they give these days, women should do all those things are nonsense. And at this generation, they bring all this nonsense. You know, if you see another woman where they do good, and only Nigerian men go see successful Nigerian and I go send a man to give them that money. Women know that they're successful for their family. Anyway, I just want to make it out there. In my own opinion, now woman, we know what she did do supposed to ask man, no matter how rich you are as a man. I feel like it's the woman that needs to ask you, what are you bringing to the table? As a multiplier, we should be, not be you. If you want to be princess, go to Disney.
I do not have a problem with a man asking a woman, what does she bring to the table? I have a problem with a man that don't have a table asking a woman what she brings to the table. Oftentimes those
They are really, really having some good talking points right now. They are. He said, I don't have a problem. And the guy before him, I loved what he said as well. Like it takes away from, it just seems like it takes away from the leadership role from what he was saying. Like, you are supposed to be the leader. So you go into the woman and saying, what do you bring to the table? It's almost like, what do you want? Like, because the same people, what I'm finding, the same platforms, the same people, the same discussions, some of the same brainwashing techniques that's out here, because you have to be careful what you take in. That information you take in, some of that stuff is not valuable. Some of that stuff is, it definitely messes up the home. It messes up the roles in the home. But if you're supposed to be the leader and you're asking her, hey, what do you bring to the table? Are you not looking for her to put some of that pant leg on? Like, she's then showing you that she's also, okay, leader, basically. Because it's okay, you go for a job interview, you're applying for a job. Not only are they interviewing you, you're interviewing them. I get that whole thing, but only one person, they're offering you the job. Now, you can decline it, you can walk away, and that's what he's saying a woman should be doing. She should be going, hey, you know what? Are you fit to lead? Are you fit to lead? Because as a woman, I'm looking for someone to lead. I'm looking for someone to provide. That whole thing, provide, protect. I need that. I need to know that no matter what, you're gonna be able to protect and provide. Okay. Now, being that we are in times where women are working, you asking that question, knowing that she's financially going to bring stuff to the table, that shouldn't even be, whether that be your choice or not. You might get with that woman and say, you know what, you don't have to work. Some people are saying they do that, but to sit down and that's the main question that you're asking, what are you bringing to the table? It's like, it's almost like you're looking for someone to help lead you, lead the household, but then that takes away from your role. And those same guys, I'm finding, the same men who are asking that question are the same ones that are saying that women are masculine. You're saying women are masculine, but then you're asking her, what does she bring to the table? It's like you're telling her to be that head. You're giving her that, okay, hey, what are you bringing to the table? And she, okay, make up your mind. What do you want to do? But I want to hear more. Just let's hear more.
Are looking for you to bring the table. You're asking a woman what she brings to the table as if you got your together. If you need help, say that. Humble yourself, thinking you the prize when you barely got a job. And honestly, when a woman tells you what she brings to the table, now you intimidated and now you don't want to date her no more. So for that woman, you damn if you do, damn if you don't. A man that asks you what you bring to the table, and when you say some degrees and what he do? Minimize it. You know why? Because he ain't got one. What I'm trying to say is I'm all for men asking women what they bring to the table, assuming you have a table for her to bring to. If you don't, then shut the.
He said, you asking what you bringing to the table and you don't have a table. I'm done. I can't. Let's go.
Up. Sometimes the woman in that relationship is y'all table. You eating off her mother plate. Got the nerve to talk about what you bring to the table. Everything. I bring it all. Humble yourself, my. There are plenty of women that's willing to build a table with you. But those women don't want to hear you talk about a mother table you ain't got before she got there.
It happened. A man asked me, "What do you bring to the table in real life?" I didn't think men actually spoke like that. But clearly he must be listening to a lot of podcasts. This was not a date. This was just a phone conversation before a date, which never goes well for the most part. I feel like only guys with bad social skills who don't know how to like have a nice date and be pleasant, they're the ones who request these phone calls before a date. He asked me about my career and I said, you know, my job isn't a big part of my identity. I wouldn't say that I'm like an ambitious type of a person when it comes to my career. I have other passions. And he was straight up like, well, if you're not ambitious, what do you bring to the table then? I had like no personality, no sense of humor, no warmth at all. He was like stone cold for the 10 minutes that we spoke on this phone, which I think I gave him 8 minutes too many. I just explained to him that like, if you think that a woman not being career ambitious, if that sparks like a scarcity mindset in you, that you think that the main thing a woman should be bringing to the table, right, providing you, is like an ambitious career with money, then we're not compatible. There are 1,000 other things to bring to the table besides career ambition. It's like an American thing where like people wrap up their entire personality in their job. I am a whole person beyond my 9 to 5.
Next time a man tells you that, you're like, oh, you're right, I don't bring anything to the table. You know, they're gonna be like, they're not gonna expect that. They're like, so you just saying you're bringing sex? No, I'm not even bringing sex. Then they're gonna totally become uninterested. As soon as you say take the sex off the table, they're done, because that's all you were gonna bring. They were mad about that. Now you take it off. Now they're mad about that. So what they want you to bring? What do they want?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm bringing half my paycheck so I can pay half these bills. Then the conversation will continue. Oh, so okay, so you want to build. Okay. Let's build up this kingdom. Let's build together. You know, basically he's saying, look, I don't have the lifestyle I want. Can you help me get to it by paying half the bills? Or, you know, let's combine our money to get a house in a certain neighborhood, because I can't afford it on my own, but I want to level up, so I need you. The man needs you. Okay. So I can get up out this apartment, basically, so I don't look like a dusty, basically. So I can pretend that that this is my house, and I tell everybody this is my house, even though you paying half the mortgage. Okay. No thanks.
You're asking a woman that is supposed to extend your legacy what she brings to the table. Extend your legacy now, since you're the prize. A woman that will get in the theater and her chances to live is 50-50. And if she survives after giving birth, there are things in her body that will most likely never remain the same. What she brings to the table. Extend your legacy now. And to those people who usually come in my comments talking about this is the only time you've made sense, like I'm about to piss you off right now, stay tuned. Because if you don't like me, do not like me. I'm not here to stroke your ego. And then y'all even make it worse. Instead of looking for a capable woman who can hold down the family, you're looking for the one who can do 50-50 with you. Is he ever 50-50? Is he ever 50-50? It's cool when you have a woman by your side who is educated, and when chips are down, she can roll up her sleeves and help out in one way or the other. But banking solely on her contribution when you should be the provider. The gag is, a lot of women can actually do this. You know, wake up in the morning, do 9 to 5 and all of other stuff. Which is expected to get back home from 8 to 9 hours of working with you. Tend to the children, take care of the home, take care of you, cook, clean, stroke your ego, have sex with you, carry over pending work from her job to the house, take care of that. Like, what time does she have for herself? What time does the woman have for herself? And then you call it 50-50? What are you doing when you get back?
That's exactly what I said earlier. That whole burnout that, you know, and what that creates is it could create resentment, because then she might feel like she's doing it all, because if she's contributing to the bills and she doesn't have the privilege to stay at home and take care of house and home and take care of the children, make sure they're off to school, make sure their homework, their schoolwork's being good, make sure they're going to their sports or whatever life looks like in your household, But if she is contributing just like you are, doesn't that lessen your role as a leader? Wouldn't that make her role, I'm just saying, it makes her, and I think a lot of it is the things that men have seen before. I've heard men say, well, yeah, well, my mom, she did it all. She would have dinner on the table. And look, I've seen it too. At the time that I was growing up, I seen my mother do it. She was retired at the time. I was younger, the younger generation out of my siblings, and I seen her she was doing everything. She was come home and you could just smell the food after school. It was just great. Just loved it. House was, and she didn't really have to do, because you delegate, right? As a mother, as a parent, as your children get older, that's why they get chores and things like that. But when it comes to it, I think a lot of times, men, you've seen your grandmothers, you've seen your mothers, our aunties, and they were superwomen, and you're like, wow, and I have guys that say, well, my auntie, my mom, she did everything. She did this. But what you're not saying is she didn't rest. She didn't have, I seen my mother do it, trust me. I seen her do so much in the household as a mother, and that was in her retirement. That wasn't even her doing the 9 to 5 and then coming home doing that. But in those times, still keeping busy in the household, because that's a job all in itself. And you know what else I seen? I seen her survive a stroke. I seen her survive a heart attack by the grace of God. But you know what? Where was her rest? And we say, oh, you need to sit down. You're doing too much. Mom was always moving. But again, overwhelmed, burnt out, that creates stress. Eventually, with some people, it can create resentment. Why would you want to put your mate, your wife, in the ground quicker than she might not have been going at that? Why would you want to send her to her grave soon? Why would you want to do that? By that overwhelming stress, that constant. But, you guys look to the woman to be this superwoman. I get that. But then you have the platforms out here like, oh, there's nothing in a marriage for men. It sounds like there's a lot. It sounds like the woman's doing a lot, and you guys are holding her to a higher standard to do a lot. But then it's not 50-50 then, is it? It's not 50-50. But let's watch more. This is interesting. Very interesting topic. Again, if you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button so that other viewers can find my platform here, find Luke-N-SHAE'S place, and go ahead and, comment. I would like to see your comments, and I'll reply just to see what you feel about this and have you experienced this in your relationship. Let's go.
Get back home, what are you doing? If you critically think about it, at the end of the day, this woman serves 2 masters at the same time. The one in her office and the one at home. Well, except she's the boss, except she runs a business. And then you complain about she not satisfying you in bed. She's exhausted. The woman is exhausted. You are not helping out. And then you dare call that 50-50. Did you even know that even if you decide to stay back home, tend to the kids, take care of the house, it is still not 50-50, even if the woman is working? Because at the end of the day, she is the one who's going to birth the children. But if you think about it in the household, as a family, as partners, as a union, the woman actually does more. The floor is open for you to argue with your ancestors. And with that being said, you want to buy, I come in peace.
What are you bringing to the table? That's when they get struck by lightning. That's when that's what I'm bringing to the table, wrath. And I'm out. Don't call on me no more. Blocked.
Man, listen, one of the things that you ain't gonna never hear from me, and you gonna never hear me ask the question, what do you bring to the table? Why the fuck I gotta ask that question? You know what I mean? Like my pops, may he rest in peace, right? He just ain't never teach me to ask that question. Like it's an irrelevant ass question. My brothers, I ain't never heard my older brothers ask that question. You know what I mean? Like you got so many dudes that ask that question of what do you bring to the table, this and that. Like, listen, I'm building it. Shorty don't need to bring nothing. You know what I mean? And the way she moved, the way I move, is gonna have her move a certain way to where I ain't gotta ask her that. I mean, the way I'm moving, she willfully bringing stuff to the table without me even asking. No questions asked. She wants to, right? Whether that be her peace, whether that be her kindness, whether that be her support.
Exactly. Just a song popped in my head. Where you lead, I will follow. So if you're leading that household, then yes, she's going to want to do things. She's going to want to bring so much more. That's how that's supposed to work right there. Wow. Let's go.
Hell, inspiration. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing like a relationship that's full of inspiration, for real. Y'all both inspire each other to be better people, better versions of yourselves. All the while loving each other. You know what I mean? That's where it's really at. That's what it's really about. What you bring to the table, like, what we talking about, it's 2025.
The best thing a man can ask you on a date is, what do you bring to the table? Because two things straight away. If you want a masculine man and his masculine energy, he is not one. He has told you straight away that relationship cannot happen. Finished. Done. But the second thing is, that man is so deep in his feminine energy that you could probably sit down, have a date with him, and learn from him how to be in it. Because even the concept of sitting down and thinking, what can this person do for me and what do they bring to the table, is so in his receiving energy. The fact that he's even sitting there and having the audacity to say that is so deeply, like, I mean, I'm not even sure me and you can get that feminine, is so deeply in there that we got a lot to learn from this guy. If a being is in their masculine energy, male or female, they're thinking, what can I bring to the situation? That is why that's such a pivotal question to find out if he is in it or not. If he's asked you it straight away, you know he's not in it.
I need men to understand that even women with pure intentions still want your money. Not everyone is trying to hustle you, bro. Heal.
If a man were to ever ask you, what do you bring to the table? I want you to respond with this. I bring my emotional support because I know that the first objective of a man is to provide. And if you were to ever lose your job or income, you are going to need it while you're trying to reclaim your status as a provider, a man in our relationship. I may offer some financial support as well, depending on where we're at in our relationship. I'm just being honest, I'm being sincere, because I want to see you as the man or a man in our relationship. And then just sit back and listen. Listen to his response. Depending on his response, that will tell you if he's a man or just another pretender.
This is the reason why it's weak to ask a woman what she brings to the table. It's because a truly masculine man doesn't desire for his woman to bring to the table what it's his responsibility to bring. Of course, he wants to know the value she has in terms of feminine traits and nurturing qualities. But that's different, because that's not what she brings externally. That's a part of her being. So technically, she doesn't actually have to bring anything externally to satisfy his masculine needs. So it's usually the men that don't want to fully occupy the masculine position that have the mindset to ask these questions.
What do you bring to the table? As a woman, what do you realistically do other than have...
Very, very interesting. All those talking points, very interesting hearing what other people feel when that question is being asked to women. Oh my goodness. So yeah, some of their talking points were similar to the ones that I said in the beginning, and to each its own with that. But at the end of the day, when you're thinking about what was said, you have to look at it as, you know, if we're going to try to call it fair, it's not really fair if she's now today, this day and age, the woman is contributing to the household, sometimes just as much as the husband, just as much as the male is contributing when you're in your partnership. So, and then you had the one person say, yeah, well, technically, if you think about it, she's doing more. And then that whole burnout where you're working hard at work, you're coming home and you're working. And no, that doesn't mean the woman's complaining about doing, she's going to do what she has to do at home. But you don't want any resentment in your marriage. That what a slap in the face if you're working hard at work, both of you. Hey, you're exchanging hellos as you come in the house, and one gets to shower and plop on the couch and pick up his controller, and the other one is in the kitchen, checking on homework, doing it. It's just, it gets to be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. So if you want your wife to be around and, don't push her to where she's overwhelmed, and, contribute and help out. She's contributing and helping out if she's not a stay-at-home mother, wife, taking care of house and home that way. And if she's doing both a job and, she's in her career and she's home, then you have to also think, why are we even asking that question? Because you can clearly see what she has to offer. And if it's in the beginning of a relationship, just take notes on what you just heard. Some of these men who actually are married and they're telling you what their roles are in the household, and they're telling you what the man's role is supposed to be. That's your title. That's the title. When she was doing that interview with you, she's looking for a husband, so she's looking for that provider. She's looking for that protector. And if she's contributing to that role, then I would say, you know what, you can contribute to hers, because right now we're not even doing the traditional gender roles in the household anyway. So if we're going to make it 50-50, make it 50-50, so that both of us get to rest and we get to enjoy each other at the end of the day, and we're not overwhelmed and we're not resentful, but we have peace in our home, and we can just come together and prayerfully wake up in the morning and start all over again. But very interesting video. I really appreciate it. I looked into some video. I saw this one and I said, you know what? Great talking points. I was going to do my own, but I said, you know what? I love the way she laid out her video. Again, Lisandra, you can check out in the description. I'll put that in there, all the information, so you can watch the full video, because I didn't play the full video. So you can go right in there and check it out and see the rest of the video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video, and go ahead, if you haven't already, click that like button, put me in the algorithm so that other viewers can find this platform. And I'm just going to wrap it up right there. I took enough of your time, but I hope you're still wearing your smile, and I hope that this video added some value. Go ahead and share it. And again, comment. I like to see what your thoughts are on this. So let's wrap that up. And again, and as always, at Luke-N-SHAE'S place, your mental health is important. And speaking of mental health, that's another thing, that you don't want to put that stress and strain in a relationship. Your mental health, her mental health is important. Both of your mental health, however your relationship looks, it's important. So a positive mentality is a destined reality. Stay positive, stay focused, wear your smile, and until next time, stay blessed. Take care.